Let's begin with a scenario that is not hypothetical. It is statistically inevitable. You are on I-10 West outside Houston, 4 lanes of moving traffic. An 18-wheeler is doing 75 miles per hour 3 car lengths behind you. You are in the passing lane doing 80. Then without warning, your body fails you a severe cardiac event, a sudden stroke, a hypoglycemic blackout. Your vision collapses. Your hands fall from the wheel. You are unconscious before you can lift a finger. In 99% of the vehicles currently on American roads, including the $90,000 Cadillac Escalade, the $80,000 Lincoln Navigator, and every pickup truck Detroit has ever produced that moment, is an irreversible death sentence. Not just for you, for everyone in your lane. A conventional American truck will drift. Its lane keep assist, if it even has one, will flash a warning issue, a steering nudge, and then disengage the moment it fails to detect driver input. The vehicle will then travel driverless at highway speed directly into the concrete median or under the trailer of that 18-wheeler behind you. The physics of what follows does not care about 5-star crash ratings. This is not a rare edge case. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration records over 700 medical emergency-related crashes per year in the United States. The vehicles involved share one common failure. They were built by an industry that never seriously engineered for the possibility that the driver might stop existing mid-journey. That assumption is now obsolete. The XPeng GX does not wait for you to press a button. It does not issue a warning. There is no countdown timer. The moment the vehicle's internal driver monitoring system detects complete loss of consciousness, cross-referenced against steering input eye tracking data, and biometric irregularities, the AI does not panic. It does not slam the brakes, which at 80 miles per hour on a packed interstate would trigger a chain reaction pileup behind you. It executes a sequence that no Ford engineer has ever been required to design for, because Ford never believed it needed to. First, the hazard lights activate, not as a formality, as a calculated signal to surrounding traffic that this vehicle is about to perform an autonomous maneuver in a live highway environment. Then the steer-by-wire system engages, not the steering assist you find on a Silverado, not Blue Cruise on a Mach-E, a fully decoupled digital steering architecture with no mechanical connection between the wheel column and the front axle, meaning the car can execute a precise smooth lane transition at highway speed with zero input from a driver who is now slumped against the window. The GX works the problem outward. Its sensor array scans for a highway shoulder, an emergency pull-off, a gap in the right lane. It is simultaneously calculating the closing speed of the 18-wheeler behind it, the clearance to the concrete Jersey barrier on the left, and the safest deceleration curve that avoids causing the exact accident it is trying to prevent. The vehicle comes to a complete controlled stop. On the shoulder, hazard still running. Emergency services auto-notified. This is not a feature. This is a reclassification of what a car is supposed to be. To understand how the GX executes that maneuver without creating the catastrophe it is trying to prevent, you have to look at what is actually processing the world around the vehicle and how fast that processing reaches the wheels. The GX runs a dual LiDAR array embedded in the front fascia, generating a continuous high-definition, 3-dimensional map of every object within its operational radius. This is not the single forward-facing LiDAR unit found on GM's Super Cruise system, which covers what is ahead of you but leaves the flanks blind in a dynamic lane change scenario. The GX's array covers the full operational envelope lateral traffic, closing from the right the gap between the F-15, O ahead, and the concrete barrier, the semi-slowing, in the adjacent lane. It is supported by a full camera ring millimeter wave radar and ultrasonic sensors, a redundant stack designed under the assumption that any single sensor can fail without killing the decision chain. But hardware is only as fast as the processor interpreting it. XPeng's proprietary Turing AI chip does not outsource understanding to a third-party vendor. It is not running Mobileye's IQ platform, the same chip that powers Ford's Blue Cruise, GM's Super Cruise. and most of the advanced driver assistance systems currently sold in North America. When a forward camera sees an opening in traffic, that signal travels through a Mobileye processor, gets handed off to a ZF-supplied steering rack, and arrives at the front wheels after passing through at minimum 3 separate supplier interfaces, each one introducing latency, each one running firmware that Ford's own engineers did not write and cannot fully optimize. In the GX, the camera, the processor, and the steering actuator speak the same internal language. There is no translation layer, no inter-vendor handshake. The interval between perception and mechanical response is measured in single-digit milliseconds. That gap is not an abstraction. At 80 miles per hour, the vehicle travels 117 feet every second. At 50 millisecond latency advantage, the difference between a vertically integrated system and a fragmented one means the GX has already steered clear of an obstacle that a Blue Cruise-equipped F150 is still processing. Detroit did not build a bad system. It built a structurally fragmented one. And fragmentation at highway speed is a physics problem. Set aside the emergency protocols for a moment. Strip away the AI, the lidar, the autonomous rescue sequence. Look purely at how this vehicle rides. For the last 2 decades, American luxury SUV buyers have been offered a binary choice. You want the Escalade's pillowy, isolated comfort, the ride that floats over Texas highway. Expansion joints like the road does not exist. You will pay for it and body roll through every on-ramp sweeper, a soft chassis that leans 4 degrees into a hard corner and handling that feels engineered for a parking lot. Or you want the performance-tuned Denali suspension, stiffer dampers, flatter cornering, and accept that every pothole on a 94 through Chicago rattles your fillings loose. Detroit has sold this compromise as a feature for 30 years. XPeng eliminated it. The GX is built on a double wishbone front and multi-link rear geometry, the same kinematic foundation used in purpose-built sports cars, not mass-market SUVs. Layered on top is a dual-chamber air suspension system paired with continuous electromagnetic damping. But the architecture that separates this from every adaptive suspension system currently available in North America is not the hardware. It is the data source driving it. General Motors' MagneRide found on the Cadillac CT5V Blackwing and the Chevrolet Corvette adjust damper stiffness up to 1,000 times per second. That number sounds decisive until you understand what it is actually responding to the road surface after the wheel has already hit it. MagneRide is reactive. It is a system that processes the impact and corrects for what just happened. The GX suspension control unit does not wait for impact. It is synchronized directly with the forward-facing lidar array reading the topology of the road surface. In real time, the exact depth of a pothole on the I-10 frontage road, the angle of a bridge expansion joint, the camber change entering a curved off-ramp and micro-adjusting the stiffness of individual shock absorbers up to 500 times per second before the tire contacts the imperfection. The distinction is the difference between a driver who brakes after seeing a child run into the street and a driver who has already lifted off the throttle because they saw the child step off the curb 10 feet earlier. On a broken urban surface, the kind of fractured asphalt that covers most of Detroit, Chicago. In Houston's inner loop, the GX cabin registers near zero vertical disturbance. The chassis absorbs what the road throws at it before the occupants can feel the throw. Then the moment you push the vehicle into a high-speed corner, the outer air chambers stiffen independently, eliminating body roll and delivering lateral stability that an Escalade at the same entry speed physically cannot match. This is not a comfort upgrade. This is a different paradigm of what suspension is for. Beneath the suspension geometry and the AI stack is the electrical architecture that determines everything else. How fast the vehicle charges, how efficiently it delivers power, how much heat it generates under sustained load, and how much of the battery's stored energy actually reaches the wheels versus being lost as waste heat in the wiring. The XPeng GX is built on an 800-volt silicon carbide inverter platform. The Ford F-150 Lightning runs on 400 volts. The Chevrolet Silverado EV runs on 400 volts. The Rivian R1T runs on 400 volts. The GMC Hummer EV, the vehicle GM positioned as its technological flagship. The truck it used to announce America's EV ambition runs on 400 volts. Every major American electric truck and SUV on the market today is operating on a voltage architecture that the engineering community classified as a transitional standard before any of them shipped. The physics of why this matters is not complicated. At 400 volts, delivering 300 kilowatts of power to the drivetrain requires approximately 750 amperes of current moving through the wiring harness. Current at that magnitude generates heat proportional to the square of the amperage, a relationship described by Joule's first law. Managing that heat requires thicker copper conductors, heavier thermal shielding, and active cooling systems that themselves consume energy. The wiring harness in a 400-volt American electric truck can weigh upward of 80 pounds. It is by mass one of the heaviest single components in the vehicle. At 800 volts, the same 300 kilowatts requires only 375 amperes. The conductors can be significantly thinner. The thermal load drops sharply. The silicon carbide inverter replacing the silicon-based units in legacy 400-volt systems switches current at higher frequencies, with lower switching losses, meaning the conversion from battery DC to motor AC is measurably more efficient across the entire operating range, not just at peak output. The result is not abstract. It is a measurable reduction in energy wasted between the battery and the road. It is faster DC charging. The GX platform supports charge rates that a 400-volt system physically cannot sustain without damaging the cells. And it is instantaneous linear torque delivery without the thermal throttling that causes a Silverado EV to reduce output after sustained high-load driving. Congress allocated $7.5 billion in the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act specifically for EV charging infrastructure. Billions more in IRA manufacturing credits are flowing to American automakers to scale EV production. A significant portion of that capital is being deployed to build, retool, and supply chains around 400-volt platforms. The architecture XPeng treated as a starting point, not a destination. That is not a manufacturing decision. That is a strategic miscalculation with a decade-long tail. The 800-volt architecture solves how power moves. But there is a second question that voltage alone cannot answer. Where does the battery live inside the vehicle? And what structural role does it play? In every American electric truck currently on the market, the F-150 Lightning, the Silverado EV, the Rivian R1T, the battery pack is a self-contained module bolted to the underside of the floor. The industry calls this a skateboard platform. It is a pragmatic engineering decision design. A flat battery sled bolt different vehicle bodies on top-scale production across multiple models. Ford used the same approach. GM used the same approach. It is efficient for a manufacturer. It is a structural liability for the vehicle. A bolt-on battery pack does not contribute to chassis rigidity. It is dead weight mass that resists bending and torsion only incidentally, because it is there, not because it was designed to carry load. The actual structural work still falls on the steel frame wrapped around it. The result is a vehicle carrying two overlapping structural systems, the battery enclosure and the chassis, where only one is doing the engineering work. The XPeng GX eliminates that redundancy entirely through its cell-integrated body architecture. The high-voltage battery enclosure is not bolted beneath the floor. It is engineered as a primary load-bearing member of the chassis itself, the structural spine that the rest of the vehicle is built around. Torsional forces that would flex a conventional skateboard platform SUV are transferred directly into the battery enclosure, which is built to absorb and distribute them. The engineering outcome is measurable torsional rigidity at a level that engineers typically associate with purpose-built track cars running roll cages, not 5-passenger family SUVs. That rigidity is not an abstract performance metric. It is the foundation that allows the 800-volt drivetrain to deliver its full output without energy loss through frame flex. It is the reason the predictive suspension system can execute precise millisecond-level damper adjustments without chassis distortion, corrupting the response. Every system in this vehicle is load-bearing on the same structural logic. Detroit built the skateboard because it was fast to market. XPeng built the spine because it was right. Every system described in this vehicle, the AI, the LiDAR stack, the predictive suspension, the 800-volt architecture, the integrated battery spine, is designed to prevent an accident. But the engineering discipline that defines whether a vehicle is truly safe is not what it does before a collision. It is what it is built from and how it manages physics when prevention has already failed. The passenger cell of the GX is constructed from a combination of aerospace-grade aluminum extrusions and ultra-high-strength hot-stamped steel. The A and B pillars, the vertical structures that protect the occupant space in a side impact or rollover, are reinforced to withstand crushing forces that exceed standard NHTSA side pole test requirements. The front and rear subframes are engineered as sacrificial crumple zones, precisely calculated structural members designed to absorb and redirect kinetic energy away from the occupant compartment through multiple load paths simultaneously. None of this is unusual for a vehicle at this price point. What is unusual is the battery. In 2021, GM issued a recall covering 141,000 Chevrolet Bolt EVs after at least 16 documented fires, several of which occurred while the vehicles were parked and charging. The root cause was thermal runaway and electrochemical chain reaction within the lithium-ion cells that, once initiated, self-accelerates and generates temperatures exceeding 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The Bolt's battery enclosure was not designed to contain that reaction. It was designed to house the cells. There is a meaningful difference between those two objectives. The GX battery enclosure is built to a different specification entirely. The cell housing incorporates fire-retardant mica layers between cell modules, a mineral barrier with a melting point above 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit that physically interrupts thermal propagation between adjacent cells. Active liquid cooling channels embedded within the enclosure structure suppress temperature escalation in real time, not after the reaction has already spread. The outer casing itself meets ballistic-grade physical protection standards, engineered to maintain structural integrity under the same crushing forces that would destroy the battery modules of a bolt-on skateboard platform. The engineering intent is explicit in a high-speed multi-vehicle collision, severe enough to mechanically deform the battery pack. The thermal energy released by the damaged cells is contained within the enclosure, vented away from the cabin floor, and prevented from reaching the auto-ignition threshold of the surrounding vehicle structure. In practical terms, the scenario that burned 141,000 American Bolt's thermal runaway propagating through an inadequately protected enclosure is a scenario the GX was specifically engineered to survive. That is not a marketing claim. It is a structural design choice with a documented American precedent that made it necessary. When the executives in Dearborn, Warren, and Auburn Hills look at the XPeng GX, they are not looking at a competitor. They are looking at a document that itemizes system by system every structural assumption American automotive engineering has operated on for the last 3 decades, and demonstrates that each one has already been superseded. The fragmented supplier model, the 400-volt plateau, the bolt-on battery, the reactive suspension, the lane keep assist that disengages when you need it most. Detroit did not fall behind because it stopped working. It fell behind because it kept working, iterating on architectures that a different industry, operating under different constraints and different urgency, had already decided to leave behind. The GX is not the warning. The GX is the evidence. The warning came years ago, and it was not acted on. The benchmark has moved. It did not ask for permission.